In many ways, California has become the epicenter of this country's resistance to Donald and the Trump regime's agenda. Judging by Donald's increasingly frantic behavior, he's been paying close attention to the way California's governor, Gavin Newsom, has been attacking him, and he's furious about it. And then there's the state's willingness to fight fire with fire when it comes to the Republicans' unconstitutional attempt to steal the 2026 election in advance by redistricting Democratic congressional seats out of existence. On election day earlier this month, California citizens overwhelmingly passed Proposition 50. That's a redistricting effort meant to offset Republicans' nationwide gerrymandering, which will likely help California flip 5 GOP seats to offset the 5 seats Texas was trying to steal from Democrats. The Public Policy Institute of California reported that California Governor Newsom celebrated Prop 50's passage on election night, reaffirming that this measure was the state's way of punching back at Donald's corrupt attempts to rig yet another election in his favor. Watch this.
We're proud. We're proud here in California to be part of this narrative this evening. We're proud of the work that the people of the state of California did tonight to send a powerful message to an historic president. Donald Trump is an historic president. He is the most historically unpopular president in modern history. In every critical category, Donald Trump is underwater. He promised to make us healthier. He promised to make us wealthier. We're sicker and poorer. And he fundamentally understands that.
He does, which is why he is so desperate to prevent California from engaging in exactly the kind of gerrymandering Donald is encouraging red states to push through. So desperate, in fact, that he's ordered his Department of Justice to sue the state on the basis of race, if you can even believe that. According to CNN, the DOJ lawyers representing the Trump regime told a federal judge that voters were sold Proposition 50 based on partisan politics when their true focus was race. One argued, quote, "Our Constitution does not tolerate this racial gerrymander because the Proposition 50 map does. The United States respectfully requests that this court enjoin defendants from using it in the 2026 election and future elections," unquote. Well, what they mean is that it's going to benefit Democrats instead of Republicans. When it benefits Republicans, it's just fine. Newsom was absolutely right to call out Donald for being historically unpopular. He is the most historically unpopular president in modern history, but he is also the most historically inept, corrupt, vicious, cruel, and stupid, which is quite a combination of things. Recently, he was described as demented and evil. Donald is beginning to have some small glimpses into the fact that more Americans are beginning to understand these things about him, which is why he is trying so hard to make sure Republicans retain control of the House in 2026. Without that, he is in serious, serious trouble, especially given the fact that in generic polling, Democrats are wildly outperforming Republicans for the first time in a very long time. But before we go on, Donald's corruption of the Department of Justice is one of his worst crimes against America, and we need to continue to focus on it. So please like and share this video. And if you believe in our mission, please subscribe to the Barry Trump Media channel. Donald is continuing to use his Justice Department to enact revenge against his perceived political enemies. NBC News reports that the Trump regime has referred Representative Eric Swalwell, Democrat of California, for a DOJ investigation for alleged mortgage and tax fraud. Swalwell has consistently been one of Donald's most outspoken critics, and he played a key role in both of Donald's impeachment proceedings. The referral, issued by Federal Housing Finance Agency Director, the sycophantic hack Bill Polt, claims Swalwell may have misrepresented his primary residence while obtaining loans and refinancing for a DC area home. For those of you keeping track, yes, this may sound very familiar because Donald's DOJ has made the same kinds of accusations against New York Attorney General Letitia James and Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook. Here's what Swalwell had to say during an appearance on CNN.
It's all nonsense, of course, Laura. It's nonsense that they're investigating Adam Schiff. It's nonsense that they're investigating Tish James. It's nonsense that they're investigating Lisa Cook, all for the same thing. And next week, when we hear about someone else who's a political opponent of Donald Trump being investigated, it will also be nonsense. And of course, I'm one of the most vocal critics against Donald Trump. I have the only lawsuit that survived him becoming president, me and the January 6th officers. I'm a little surprised, frankly, that it took him this long to get to me, but it's not going to shake me. The other individuals, Schiff, James, Cook, and myself, we're not going to hide under the bed. We're not going to be silent or go away. We are going to hold a lawless president accountable. So if the aim is to make us shrink, it's not going to work.
One of the good things to come out of all of this is that Donald is really losing the ability to pick his targets properly. Because, as Swalwell stated there, people like him and Letitia James and Adam Schiff are not going to back down. Donald is so used to people doing his bidding and capitulating in advance that it's going to be very difficult for him to wrap his head around the fact that there are some people out there who will never back down from his lawlessness and corruption. There, of course, may be a bigger motive behind the DOJ's investigation into Representative Swalwell. MSNBC reports that Swalwell is considering a run for governor of California since Newsom's second term ends in January of 2027, and he is considering a run for the presidency in 2028. Sources say Swalwell would campaign on his record of strong opposition to Donald, something that, as we've seen, particularly in the last few months, has worked very, very well for Gavin Newsom. Since January, Donald has been using the DOJ to investigate opponents who've challenged him in the past. Now it looks like he's using the DOJ to take out opponents who seek to challenge him in the future. That is what an incredible, weak, craven coward he is. He cannot handle opposition. He cannot handle the fact that there are people in the world with the strength to stand up to him, which is kind of shocking considering almost everybody on the planet has more strength in their little finger than Donald Trump. Please take a second and like and share this video. It'd be awesome if you could subscribe to the channel. If you're listening to us in podcast form, please follow us and give the show a 5-star rating because it really does help other people find our content. Thanks.